think it's about being more competitive. I think it's about not only looking at the maritime sector itself, but actually see how we can combine this with like railway and road. But for those cases where we actually are competing, sailing parallel with the road, it must be for the society's interest that the shipping is more competitive, both from an environmental perspective, but also out from a cost perspective of infrastructure, because you can't hide away from that using the sea, it's existing infrastructure. So the question is how we can use that in the absolutely best way for customers and for the environmental perspective. And in this discussion, I think it's important also to have a perspective of how much are we actually jeopardizing the trade, and especially the export from Finland and also from North Sweden, where we're having our base industry, and also having the perspective of job opportunities and how we actually can secure that Sweden and Finland is competitive out from a global perspective as well.
50% of the cost of our gas now is infrastructure. That is, of course, a cost for the pioneer. We have to build the infrastructure in order to get the gas to the ship side. And I think a way of getting LNG as a more common fuel would be to expand that infrastructure in a way that it's available in many ports, and that will then take down the price significantly. So that is something that I think we need to concentrate on.
Both myself and Jan, we are representing two major companies, two big actors, and I think we have a huge responsibility to continue leading the development and not only cope with the development. It's actually about leading it. I think the challenge is actually to get the small actors in the industry, because it's a very diversified industry, the maritime sector, and the challenge is actually to get all the small ones who in a group are very big. I think that's a challenge. And then finally, I think it's all about cooperation between the industry, the regulators, the politicians, and the academia, the university as well. So it's not possible for one of those actors to drive. We have to do it together. And I think with that combination, we will all gain.
Well, first of all, we've been doing measurements on board some of these ships. We've been on Viking Grace doing measurements on the particulate emissions, and we've been on several Stena ships too. We hope to be able to measure on the methanol ship too. And that gives us the changes in the emissions of these air pollutants that we get. And from that there are established method in Europe and also in other parts of the world since many years on how you can calculate what are the benefits for society, what are the differences in the costs for society when you change these emissions. And through the collaboration here, we've been able to do that for a number of these ships, and you can see really big benefits for society through fewer mortalities and less sickness around the Baltic Sea area.
Almost every one of these different projects have received grants from the Commission or from elsewhere. So the industry have not been able to do these successful technical pilots without the financial supports in forms of grants from the Commission, and thank you very, very much for that. However, if we truly want to support the broader transition, so the industry can be the transport alternative in the Baltic Sea and complement railway and trucks and so on, we need to develop financial mechanisms supporting the broad transition, fairway dues, port fees, risk-sharing funds when investing in green investments, and so on and so on. There is a number of financial mechanisms that we need to develop. And so coming back to this forum here, the message is that the industry have done the homework. We have shown this is a good business for the society. please help us to take the next step, and the industry is willing to do that if we have get the right support and do it together. Because, and finally, it's not one man's fix. Not the government, not the industry, not the ship owners, not the ports, not the universities and institutes. All of us must do a little portion of the homework to make this move forward.